ropes through the Champions League if you win your own group.
So that's important.
I think you can get somebody that drops out, Paul. I think it's the top 4 that drop out. You kind of get. Is that not right? No,
right.
I just thought it was everybody.
Sorry. I beg your pardon. If you win, I think if you win your group, you might get one of the lower ones that drop out. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I've got that wrong because I'd heard it was the 4 highest ones that drop out of the Champions League plus all the group winners you would avoid.
What do you mean by the 4 highest? Like the 4 highest ranked?
I think so, or their position or whatever. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's all group winners and all the dropouts.
Certainly, there is an advantage to winning the group anyway.
Because when you think, it must be the 4. When you think about it, because think it's two teams qualify for every group, right? So if you've got all the Champions League dropouts, you can't avoid all the winners plus all the dropouts. There's going to be too many teams going round. It means all the dropouts would need to play each other, which they don't. So I think you've got 8 dropouts for the Champions League. There are 8 groups. So 4 of them, you'll avoid the top 4 if you win the group. But if you could still play the bottom 4 dropouts, I think that's how it works.
That shit confuses me to no end. Like, I can never figure that stuff out. Like, all the seeding and stuff, that just goes way over my head. I was never good at that stuff. Right, so, I mean, Europe's looking good. Looking very good. So we'll move on to...
See, the only thing I would say, I got cut off there, guys. I didn't hear you use Tapper. Sorry, I just got back on.
I'm talking a lot of shit.
I don't think it's a guarantee we've qualified yet.
No, I don't.
No. I don't think anybody does.
I think the way it's turned out, all the results have kind of transpired against us. That Salzburg are humping everybody and their granny in the group, apart from us. So I hope that continues at Celtic Park. But it's a massive game now.
Yeah, but that's
Jason, that's what I was saying. I think it was one of the disappointing aspects was we could have wrapped up in the night, and we've got 2 tricky games coming up now. There's no getting away from that.
Well, the thing is, you would kind of think Zagreb are going to beat Astra. So then, by the fact that you would think, because Astra are out, so you would think Zagreb would beat Astra, and then if it comes down to the final game, if we lose at home to Salzburg, I'm thinking negative here. I've got every confidence we'll get at least a point against Salzburg, but I'm just thinking, if we were to lose at home to Salzburg, you go to Zagreb needing a draw, and if they beat you, they're through. That's a bit of pressure there, because they look not too bad at Celtic Park.
Yep.
So, that's how I was a bit hacked off with losing that.
And it is hard to know what you're going to get for this team still at the minute. You can't be overconfident, you know.
I think we look better in Europe than we do in Scotland at the minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Europe looks good. I mean, we're seeing stronger team in Europe, I think. I mean, against better opposition, obviously. You know?
I think the way our shape is, it suits European football better at present, but hopefully that's a work in progress that'll... Yep.
But anyway, we shift on to Sunday, to Aberdeen, right? And I suppose we'll have to talk about the minute silence at some point, but we'll talk about the game first. Obviously, again, I didn't see that game. I did see the extended highlights, but it looked like a real pulsating game, a real like end-to-end game. I mean, it was a lot like Aberdeen put up a good fight from what I could see in the highlights. I mean, Paul, was that the case?
Say that you cut off a bit there, Joe. Say it again.
I said like, Aberdeen seemed to put up a good fight, and the game seemed to be fairly tense and a fairly strong competition.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think Aberdeen are garbage, but that's just my opinion. I just think we were the masters of their own downfall on Sunday. The passing was shocking at times, and that sort of put us under a wee bit of pressure. I didn't at any stage feel sort of under threat for Aberdeen. I mean, in Scotland now, you have to, Derek McInnes is God. He knows fucking everything about everything, and he's always on spouting about this, that, and next thing. I think the boy's a complete and utter imposter. I think he's built an Aberdeen team there with a far bigger wage bill than the rest of Scotland outside us. That's built to last for about 2 years. Players that are in their late 20s, early 30s, and he's reaping the benefits of that now, whilst other teams are building, for the future and trying to sort of solidify themselves. And I think that was borne out by what actually happened towards the end, because at that point, you're away from home and you're 1-1 and you're a man down and you've lost your driving force and all that kind of thing. And Aberdeen just didn't have the ball to see that through. You know what I mean? They just didn't do it. And it's even when you've got this, we're going to cut the allocation of Celtic tickets and all that kind of thing. I think it was Alex Ferguson said about the rustling of the sweetie pepper. I mean, there's just the atmosphere at Pittodrie either. And so, to me, it's not like going to, say, Tynecastle, where in that situation you'd have 15,000 of them screaming at you and the team fling themselves at you. I mean, so overall, I mean, I wasn't impressed by Aberdeen at all, I've got to say.
Apart from quite a few shots from McGinn from outside the box, and they didn't miss any sitters. There wasn't there wasn't that many chances in the game, to be fair. But I thought Celtic had. Reading some of the match reports after it, it was as if we were under pressure for the full game. That just wasn't the case. That just wasn't the case. But there you go. Zaluska's, I think he's no a bad keeper. I think he's actually pretty good. He's no great. He's definitely no. He's not Fraser Forster. He's not Craig Gordon. But I think he's decent. But he was definitely at fault for their goal. So for a goalkeeping mistake, that's where they get a goal from. And then when you're going about Stefan Johansson, what a goal he scored! Absolutely phenomenal.
You know what's brilliant? His touch when Stokes played. His first touch is brilliant. Just taking it away from his man and just to stretch in and just basically more just dinking over the keeper. It was brilliant.
Absolute cracking goal, beautiful. And then what a way to win it! We weren't convincing. Scott Brown, obviously, he didn't do it. No way they deserved to get sent off. It wasn't even a foul.
No,
and then
that was disgrace.
Niall McGinn's made the most of it, and he's sort of dived over and he's got Bruno sent off. And then what a way to win it at the end. That's what makes it all worthwhile. And I don't care what anyone says. If you're a football fan, regardless of how good your team plays, if you get into 10 men with 10 minutes to go and score a last-minute winner, there's nothing better. And
I think Aberdeen players must be responsible for about half the cards that are disputing the SPFL, because all they do is dive all the time. McGinn was out all day, Pollitt's out all day. Then, of course, the manager comes on and all he's talking about is we should have had this free kick, that free kick, this.
That was a corner.
I mean, it's like, forget the fact that your defender didn't bother putting a challenge into Johansson. Your goalkeeper makes it a lot easier for him to put the ball in the net. Your defence is standing static at the winning goal. But it's all done to deflect away from, as you just said, Jason, 10 men away from him, biggest rival, and we step up and win the game. And our team deserves immense credit for that, because, that's where you needed character, and instead we just get the usual outcry to any good Celtic win. It's like, let's point the finger at this. Instead of pointing the finger at the fact that Niall McGinn clearly died to get Scott Brown sent off. There's no outcry about that. Pollitt's diving all day. I mean, as you say, that was a corner. Let's rein in on this. That was this. That was that. No, what it was a good Celtic victory. And as you said, right there at the end, I mean, that's what football's all about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Scoring a last-minute goal when you're up against it. That's why we love football.
Yeah, and then the celebrations at the end were absolutely brilliant, and hopefully that's the arrival, Ronnie. Hopefully that's because the fans definitely responded to it, the players loved it, the management team loved it, and everybody was together. And for that 10-minute period after the game with the crowd going mental, it was just bliss. So, you need to win games. Everybody's got the rose-tinted glasses on when you think back to Martin O'Neill's time, you think back to some of Lenny's time, some of Strachan's time, as if it was beautiful performances. Tommy Burns, the great Tommy Burns, was the manager. But at the end of the day, there was dirty games there as well that you were winning last minute, and there's nothing better. If you struggle, especially when you're down to 10 men and you score a last-minute winner, there is nothing better. It's phenomenal. And I was delighted, absolutely over the moon. Plus, I had £100 and Celtic to win, so I was sweating. But it was brilliant, amazing.
How about you, Harper? You've been fairly quiet.
No, I never seen the game, man. I was travelling to Dublin, so I never seen the game. And to be honest, all I've seen is Van Dijk's goal and the celebrations at the end. I suppose just to echo what Jason says there, it really puts you, when you watch that, it really, you can put, as somebody who used to go to all the games, right, you can put yourself in the stand there and you can feel it even although you're not there. So I mean, even if it's after the game, you're watching it, you can feel what everybody's feeling, that excitement, that rush, that buzz, especially away from home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you're with that sort of kind of small partisan crowd, and it's just you against them. and especially when you feel you've been getting cheated the whole game, people diving out of the place, it makes it a lot sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, the reaction of the manager was fantastic, and I suppose it kind of backs up what you were saying about how he spoke passionately at the Q&A that you were at. It was the first thing I thought of, actually. When I watched the footage, it put me in mind of what you were saying on the podcast. I have to say, listening to the podcast, without going too far astray, I was really excited listening to you talking about the manager and his vision for the future. And that I don't think we're quite seeing it on the footballing side yet, and we've heard it from managers in the past, I know as well, for likes of Barnes and that. But he's got the philosophy that we want to hear, and to see that reaction at the end, I think he knows what that meant and what it means to the fans, and that's what we want. That's what I want anyway to see for going forward. Like, a bigger connection between the fans and the management and the club in general. But every player was across there, and they're all dancing in front of the fans, and absolutely. Even like say, you look at Lee Griffiths. He's hardly had a kick of a ball all season, and he's there gone mad like it really meant something for him to get to win that game. Do you know what I mean? So that shows you that there is a complete togetherness with the squad. There's nobody standing sulking on the sidelines, or there was nobody trudging away. Like, I mean, so that's really a pleasing side of it for me.
I think as well, like touching on the Griffiths thing, Guedetti as well, people will have to remember these are just young boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just really starting out. And Griffiths a wee bit older, but Guedetti's just starting out really in his career. Van Dijk, people like that, they were going absolutely mental at the end. And Ronnie Dyler, obviously mentioned last week, was impressed with him about the passion. He did make the commitment to show basically the real Ronnie Dyler, because, we said that last week. Remember the character he was before he came to us? That's what you've seen on Sunday. And he did also say that he would do everything he could to make sure the players went to the fans as often as possible. Cut to Sunday, there you go. And you see the reaction as you say that, but it makes you, support the club even more if you possibly could.
And see another thing as well, and I'm not saying that there was a disjointed dressing room, but that's the kind of result and the way of getting a result that brings a dressing room closer together, brings everybody together, because especially because the players feel it when there's players diving all over it. I mean, as I say, I've never seen the game, but going just to what you're saying, Jason, right? The players feel that when there's guys diving all over the place, and then somebody gets your captain sent off. Do you know what I mean? That gets the players. Like, players don't like to be cheated. So to get a last minute winner like that, rubbing their faces in it on the park for 5 or 10 minutes at the end, that's class. Like, the players would have loved that as well. They'd enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another reshout, I think it was good that James Forrest was back. I know he's a perennial signal for us at the minute, but he didn't do too much on Saturday, to be fair. But I don't know, it's just maybe me that I think when he's in the park, something can happen. I really rate the kid, and I hope for everybody's sake he gets back to fitness and gets an extended run in the team. But I like how he took him off after the hour, got him in but he wasn't great. He didn't really do much, but he's definitely, to me, he's far more of a threat than McGregor. And I don't mean he got on McGregor's back. That's not what it's all about. I just think he's a young guy. He came in with a great impact, a couple of away goals in Europe and stuff like that. And but I don't know. I think he's needing a wee break. I just think he's needing a wee break, and I'm glad to see Forrest back. So probably that starting lineup. With these ranking, that's our strongest team, or maybe Lustig instead of Matthews. I would say Lustig instead of Matthews. Apart from that, you're maybe looking at, I don't know, with these rankings, that our strongest team.
I would say Lustig. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm no Matthews' biggest fan, and I thought he was a complete and utter liability on Sunday. Right. He was so timid, it was unbelievable, and he got absolutely roasted by the Aberdeen guy. 2 or 3 occasions. On the Forrest thing, he didn't do much, but I tell you, he done one thing in the first half where he went past the fullback with one turn of pace on the ball, just left him for dead. And that's what you'll get for James Forrest, as you say, because I don't think there's a player in Scotland that's better on the ball running at people than James Forrest when he's fit, because he's got an incredible turn of pace. And it was kind of funny because you know, you say Guidetti. I mean, they basically had two guys in him all the time and basically kicked him up. I'm positive McInnes just sent Barry Robson